Ladies and gentlemen, it happened again. Yes, oddly enough, this is not the first time, or probably the last time, someone has faked an entire identity on the internet. We've had many such cases of this, spanning from artists like Tina Fate 1 to prominent figures such as Luluboo, both masquerading as Asian women. Luluboo's case is actually eerily similar to the guy we're going to be talking about, where both of them pretended to be Japanese women in their 20s for years, and also allegedly did some pretty bad things. As of writing this, the Midori situation is still unfolding and happened as of last night, so please excuse any gaps in information. And yes, I'm painfully aware this is dumb Twitter drama, but god damn it, I don't care. I think it's interesting, so that's what I'm going to talk about. By the way, I'm not too familiar with the Persona or video game leaker scene, so let me know if I got anything wrong. Let's start things off from the very beginning. This is Mystic. Mystic used to run a Twitter account called MysticDistance, and was a prominent leaker for Persona-related content, also being a translator for the website PersonaCentral.com. Mystic would also leak many other things from different franchises, some being real and some being fake. One of the most infamous fake leaks being the Grinch leak. If you're a fan of Super Smash Bros., then you probably got hit with a wave of nostalgia and memories flooding your brain at this time period. In summary, on October 21st, 2018, an anonymous user on 4chan posted this photo, which leaked many well-known characters appearing in the new Smash Bros. Game, that being Smash Ultimate. Some users then noticed something odd. If you look really closely, and I mean really closely, you'll see what appears to be the Grinch? Like Dr. Seuss's The Grinch? So unless OP decided to create a fully rendered and modeled version of the Grinch just for a fake leak, which wouldn't make any sense, it would mean that the leak must be real, thus being named the Grinch leak. And yes, that leak did turn out to be real, with the Grinch being a fan favorite and popular pick for anyone who's a fan of the game. Nah, I'm just kidding. The Nintendo Direct on November 1st immediately disproved it, seeing as it was the final Direct for the game before its release in December, and since then, no Grinch. Mystic turned out to be one of the people responsible for the Grinch leak, which tarnished a lot of credibility he may have had with some of the real leaks he produced. He's also been accused of stealing most of his leaks from Reset Era forums and passing them off as his own, not really helping his case. Another one of his fake leaks was claiming that Persona 5 Royal was going to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive port of Persona 5. This one also wasn't true, although recently Persona 5 did come to the Switch, so I guess it's kinda real? I'm not going to give it to him though, since he made that claim way back in 2018. There's no way he would have known that far ahead. Mystic was also associated with other shady and untrustworthy leakers, such as Zippo and SabiWabii. Zippo has actually been blacklisted by several Reddit communities and Reset Era for false information and leaks. The community despised him, and actively wanted to see him gone because of how inaccurate and unreliable he was. They would soon get their wish when Zippo had his Blogspot account removed on Christmas Day of 2023. Certainly a nice gift for everybody who hated him. But this is not the end of Zippo's story, and you'll see why soon. SabiWabii had a lot more serious allegations against him, besides just more false information. Sabi was accused and then admitted to beating his girlfriend to the point of broken ribs by another person in their private Discord server called Sabi Squad in July of 2020, which included both Mystic and Zippo. I used to have physical fights with my girlfriend like 4 years ago, which is why I thought they talked about it, but that'd be fucked up because we already improved our relationship. Well, the stuff about Maru is true, but that, 1, was 4 years ago, 2, she didn't want that to be public because we have worked on a relationship in private, and it's been much better for a while now. The fact that this was shared without her permission by someone specifically trying to cancel me is actually messed up and pissed her off. Keep in mind, this was not his girlfriend who outed him, but someone who he claims was trying to cancel him. His excuse was that it happened 4 years ago at the time, and they've since improved their relationship through therapy. Sabi, and apparently his girlfriend, also did not want this leaking out to the public for obvious reasons, and was angry somebody revealed all this personal information publicly. Not to mention the allegations of grooming, manipulation, etc. I don't want to get too deep into this tangent, or try and prove or disprove the accusations, since it's pretty dark and also happened entirely on a private Discord server from years ago. But since then, SabiWabii has scrubbed their existence off the internet, and hasn't been heard from since. Coupled with a straight confession, I mean... The point I'm trying to make here is that Mystic was very connected with, and was friends with other false leakers with shady reputations. Now, I don't want to be the guy that starts doing guilt by association, but I think this just adds fuel to the fire that was Mystic's credibility. It's actually pretty hard finding anything about this guy anymore, because most of what I can find is rumors from Redditors, and also people describing what he did, so take all these with a grain of salt. From what I can see, others talked about him poorly, calling him toxic and reeking of a god complex, until deleting his account in September of 2022 due to a lawsuit by Nintendo. But as one person leaves, another one enters. This is Midori. Midori runs a Twitter account called, whatever that means, and is also a prominent leaker of Nintendo, Sega, and Atlus games. And coincidentally, just like Mystic, some of their leaks were true while others were fake. A big one that ended up being true is the Persona 3 remake leak that was posted April 10th, 2023, showing the domain name p3re.jp being purchased. And lo and behold, the game was released February 1st, 2024. One of the bigger leaks that has yet to be confirmed is the development of Persona 6, which Midori claimed would get released sometime in 2025 or 2026. From my understanding, it looks like a majority of Midori's leaks ended up being true, which built up their reputation as an accurate source for leaks by several communities. And unlike Mystic, Midori was actually well liked for their personality and who they were as a person, maybe a little too much in some cases. Midori, I'm one of your old fan. I love you so much. I read your every tweet. I print your viral ones. Some of them are on my walls in my room. I was in depression when you left me. The day you returned is the happiest day of my life. Thank you for brightening my life. Heart emoji. Midori told the public, sometimes in broken English, that they were a Japanese woman living in Japan in their 20s, had a boyfriend, and may possibly be a Sega employee, given the amount of leaks they posted. If I had to guess, the leaker is someone who works at the Sega building, not necessarily Atlus. The Sega HQ in Japan is basically one giant tower, with each subsidiary occupying a floor. I believe they share lunch areas. It could literally just be someone who sees Atlus employees every day. Lol. Of course, there was no face reveal, name reveal, voice reveal, or any other personal information shared with the fans. And this makes sense, obviously. If you're a known leaker that's causing rumors and ruined surprises for video games, the companies behind those games are going to want your head on a stick. So it makes sense that very little would be known about Midori besides being some Japanese girl. Cracks were already starting to show as people in different forums started to speculate that Midori may not actually be who they say to be. This caused Midori to claim that they were being harassed by people online and took multiple breaks from Twitter. But knowing what we know now, it seems like Midori was getting worried that someone would spill the beans about who they really were and panicked. This is just speculation, but it's my theory at least. Things went relatively well for Midori as the leaks kept coming out about new games, and they built a fanbase of over 100,000 followers on Twitter. But this fame would not last for long. On June 12th, 2024, the user @TailsGuy92 said this. I just saw a fucking bomb drop on r/gaming leaks and rumors regarding some Midori conspiracy. I think it's gone now. Well, luckily though, I have the paste bin that they were talking about in the post, and I read it, and God, well, it's damning. It's crude but damning. And I was curious about some conspiracies the other day, but this is beyond anything I could have imagined, and posted a pastebin link, which contained the following document made by an anonymous group. Throwaway account from a large group of 3 different communities, discussing it and meeting with the various people who've interacted with them for over the past year. Midori is MysticDistance without a doubt, nothing more than a very poor leaker who rebranded. While at first we didn't think we'd be able to prove it, we talked with someone who stumbled upon this information recently. Pretty obvious, although he doesn't seem to care. He just asked a few mutuals who confirmed it. It was already obvious to anyone who was his friend in the past, as his method of getting sources was very similar. Lots of domain/server crawling, and a lot of shoddy leaks being traded for real leaks. His Nintendo codename leaks? You can get that far off crawling their servers, but you can't get any further into the folders as far as we're aware from talking to real leakers. Think the EGS data leak today. If you couldn't get past Utah, you'd maybe know it's The Last of Us 2, but it'd be hard to prove it beyond guesses. His Sega leaks? Internal 2021 to 2023 presentations, showing their next year's plans. Nothing about Persona 6 in there, and after talking to some Sega staff, we're confident he doesn't have a Sega source of his own, but instead said that internal presentations were handed off to him. A lot of this was obviously very accurate, but he was out of leaks. That's the main thing that tipped us off that he didn't have a real source. He traded info for his Square Enix leaks. He doesn't have a source. Some of the stuff he knows is also just blatantly wrong, as shown by him being wrong earlier today. The Xbox showcase leaked in full in private circles, so we know he didn't have a source for that, or he wouldn't have done his usual There's these things that's showcased by Square, be excited, and still manage to fuck it up. We knew there was nothing besides LIS, so titles was just always going to be wrong. Midori originally got spooked because that era guy that asked around accidentally asked Mystic's best friend, girlfriend, if Midori was one of our friends, because we told him that we were pretty sure it was Mystic. That's the only reason Midori got scared and said people were asking his friends. No one stalked a Japanese lady. That was an early warning sign for Midori. Midori proceeded to tweet that they were done leaking with a clarification that I didn't get caught, except you completely did. There's a lot of proof, from identical writing styles to being completely shaky on leak accuracy, with the exception of the past few months, when they got those old Sega documents with the information that wasn't public yet. The habit of being wrong but vague enough statements that they theoretically could have been right is a MysticDistance classic. We didn't think we could find any definitive proof, until someone who has enough hate for him that they'd inspire Kendrick to drop another diss track, Jesus, went on Wayback Machine. The link keeps dying for me for some odd reason, but if you Wayback Machine for the February 2023 version, you'll notice that the comments on the original Midori translation have his name tied to them. But if you Wayback Machine to a month later, it has the name Midori. They rebranded the Persona Central account. He fucked up and used his name on the account at first. I have no idea why that's on the Wayback Machine, but it is. It's also just plain sloppy work, since he should have made a new account. To not dox them on Reddit, even though they used to write under their full names since they wanted to be part of the press, I'll refrain from directly posting screenshots, but googling the name directly leads us back to Mystic. Anyone who knows him can confirm that's who he is, and I'm sure many people who have followed his work in the past can confirm as much themselves. MysticDistance was also a writer for Persona Central, which explains why they retweeted the fan site endlessly. In the case Wayback doesn't work, we've taken screenshots if needed and also have saved the entire webpage as offline files. That alone single-handedly proves he's MysticDistance. Why are we coming forward? Simple. Because it's fucking creepy that one of our mutuals is catfishing an entire community. It's creepy as hell it's being done as a Japanese girl, even though she happens to be asleep at 5 to 10 p.m. Japan time, or 4 to 9 a.m. in their local time zone. Anyone could have just scheduled tweets for those times, but nope, needed to reply to people for clout. We're also not happy that he's fishing through our friend groups for actual leaks, since he's all but bone dry on major scoops. Stop doing that. You aren't that guy. And it's really weird to sociopathically join friend groups under a fake persona just to get information out of them in secret. We would not have cared if it was just on Twitter, but there's people who have talked to you in Pan for almost a year now and thought you were someone you weren't. The idea of getting told you're a fake leaker and proceeding to pretend to be an Asian woman with a full Discord account you're interacting with people on is problematic at the least. Get over your god complex. You don't need to basically stalk Sega to get leaks for them, and it's creepy to the employees directly, especially on the smaller details you're writing down. You aren't doing people a favor. Leaks are cool and all, but this is problematic behavior. And for anyone saying we've ruined a valid leaker, he was out of information minus some small tidbits and a random couple games. He didn't have anything crazy left, and if he does at this point, it's mainly because people kept talking to him, thinking he's a valid community member. Outside of Sega, it was always mediocre leaks at best. Putting the leaker business aside, 2 other people on the group said that they were going to do this if I didn't do it on a throwaway, so this information wasn't staying private beyond the week anyways. There's plenty more, but we're trying to do you a favor and not make this worse than it has to be. And almost immediately after this bombshell dropped, Midori would confess that they were not in fact a Japanese woman, and that it was actually MysticDistance running the account the whole time. I will not deny the rumored information that the account that has been known to many as Midori is indeed MysticDistance. I think many have been aware of this for a long time now, but if they were, they chose to say nothing. I appreciate that. Many of the claims made in the document are false. Most of the information I've received has come from people who have decided to share it with me. I have only shared information because I did not want people sharing information with me, and for me to not do the same. I won't spend most of my time denying many of the claims made in the document. I think it's pointless to do so, whether the claims are true or not. If it's over, I think it should end as respectfully as possible to all sides involved. I am not going to fight against this. Instead, I will dedicate this thread to discussing the reasons behind why I made this account. This account was made to market my love for Atlus and Sega titles in a way that was not linked to me. I did not expect this account to have ever become as notable as it has. Being able to report on Atlus and Sega in my own way, while not being constrained to who I was before, was very liberating for me. I was very happy to hopefully have shared information on a developer that is very integral to who I am over the past year. When I made the account, I was not thinking of a gender or even a region for the persona for this account. The intention was not to fool people into thinking I was some employee to get inside information on Atlus or Sega titles. This is why I do not refer to myself as a leaker. This is not to absolve myself of responsibility. I am extremely sorry to all the people who have followed this account, who now feel misled and are questioning who Midori really even is. The Midori persona as it is may not be a real person, but it is what I believe to be an accurate representation of a real person, albeit in a particularly strange way that I wish I did not use. But it was never used to manipulate anyone, or to appear more credible. And this persona was never used to catfish anyone or garner more followers. In all honesty, I decided on this persona at random. There was never an intention behind it, and as I stated previously, no monetary gain has ever been made from this account. This is a bit of a personal segue, but I started this account after finally being consistently prescribed ADHD medication. And if you knew me before, I think that it'll explain a lot about how the behaviors on this account are much more stable than my previous one. I do believe that the callout post that has been made is targeted. I do not believe that the post has been written in good faith, nor does it represent the purpose of this account. I believe the person, or persons, behind it did not have positive intentions. Given the callout post, the way in which my previous name has gone around, I think it justifies the move to use a persona, even if that persona mostly represents my love for Atlus and Sega titles. When I made the post I did a few days ago, it wasn't in so much that I worried that my identity getting out would ruin my insider information. I didn't really care in all honesty. I was and still will receive information, but I don't believe that would have ever made a difference in the long run. I think as this account continued to grow in notoriety, the truth would have eventually come to light. It would have been impossible to continue like this under a persona for so long. Yeah, this white guy from the States was LARPing as a Japanese woman for almost 2 years. But there's a lot more to this actually. Let's talk more about this TailsGuy92 person. It seems as though the motivation for leaking this info about Midori came from a strange source. That source tying back to Zippo of all people. This needs to be given more context. I'm not going to speak on the validity of this because it's not my place, but the intent behind posting this, and maybe even writing it, should be known for context. Tails' thread on this intentionally leaves out stuff or changes the story a bit. To preface this, there's no need to harass him. The only thing you should do is disengage from his posts to not feed into his unhealthy behavior. This is essentially a kid who gave a stranger personal info and is upset they might not be who they say they are. Back in December/January, when the Persona 5 betas were being obtained and Tails offered to rip them, this put him in touch with Midori at some point who was trying to translate them. During this time, Tails began DMing Midori semi-frequently and considered her a friend. Eventually, he ended up in Zippo's Discord. In DMs with Zippo and info taken from Zippo's Discord, Zippo essentially coaxed a teenager into giving him info he at least assumed Midori had. After manipulating Tails, he made the article that Midori and him had drama from. I'm gonna let Tails describe what happened leading up to the expose. It's true. I actually planned on confessing on this too. I was talking about it in the comments. Everyone, I told Zippo about the Sonic Heroes remake, and I'm the reason why Midori left the first time. I'll talk about it in this thread. Well, I'm acquainted with Zippo. I really liked reading his blog posts as a kid, and I heard some news every now and again from him. After the Persona 5 betas, I like telling Midori some stuff about the neat insider things I heard from Zippo. I'm not saying anything Zippo or Midori told me, by the way. It doesn't matter here. Anywho, I was told that the Heroes remake is being worked on by Zippo. Told Midori, said it existed. Told Zippo, told him Midori said it existed, and thought that was pretty rad. But yeah, Zippo wrote an article about it down the line, thinking that it was confirmed and coming out. However, it was really only in talks, I think. So Midori does what she does and tries to clarify, and it went crazy. Zippo got defensive, Midori got overwhelmed by the heat, and well, she left. I confessed to her that I did this, and she said she had to leave. God, let me tell you, I cried. Because actually, I talked to Midori as a friend. I didn't really care about the information. I liked telling her what I knew, and I also just like talking about my art and struggles and stuff. I don't know where Midori works, but I worried that I might have lost her job, if she had one, and that I might have got her into trouble, so that's why I became so depressed on March 27th. If she didn't come back, I would have said so a long time ago. I just figured it wasn't a good time since she returned. Don't yell at Zippo, he's about doing his own thing. He's not relevant to the current event. but I just felt like saying that it was my doing, that I was the middleman. I did not mean anything malicious, but I've been toting the responsibility and I'll continue to do so. This is why I'm so upset about Midori being Mystic, because I messed up so bad, and she felt the need to become more secluded. I felt responsible, and grateful that she even forgave me to begin with. But like, the woman I talked to for 5 months, Midori isn't real. Like, was anything we talked about real? Were they actually happy to listen to me rant about my life struggles and industry tidbits? That might not even be true. I think I would have liked to been friends with Mystic, because he was Mystic, not because it was Mystic being Midori. So I'm biased, hurt, and feel betrayed. I figure I'm naive for thinking so, that it's obvious that I can't believe everything. But I'll be selfish this once. This is also accompanied by a long Excel sheet containing Discord conversations between Zippo and Tails. I also want to clarify that the user @Screenments was the person who did all the research and found out who Midori was behind the scenes. Tails was simply the messenger. In fact, Screenments has a 4-hour-long livestream documenting a lot of what happened that day and his personal findings, so a lot of the credit goes to him. Sadly, the information that Screenments had spent months collecting and researching was unceremoniously leaked to the public before he got to finish a documentary he wanted to make called The Midori Festo. As Screenments says in this clip,
this is low-key this is what I was trying to avoid. This is why I wanted to fuck, but like everything, like everyone says to be fucking stupid. Like, I hate to say it, but like fuck, am I the only one like actually thinking? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't think I'm like that much smarter than the rest of you. But like, well, and when I say the rest of you, I'm talking about like the people who like were involved in like leaking all this stuff or whatever. But like, holy shit, a lot of truth might be said in jest. Why the fuck do you think this was the right way of going about it? Like, this is a shit show. Like, it was gonna be, like, I made the example before. I understand. Going public at all was obviously going to be a bit of a mess, right? But the difference is, this was a nuke that went off, and mine was gonna be a controlled explosion. But fuck it. Here. You fucking la-di-da. Congratulations. There you go. This is what you wanted, I guess. Fucking...
It would have been way more organized and better if it was kept private until all credible pieces of evidence were collected and presented neatly. This actually ties into the next segment and is a consequence of not communicating a proper release for this bombshell. Here we have the grooming allegations against Mystic, posted on the same day by somebody named Zach, which claimed that Mystic, years prior, groomed them at the age of 17, and possibly did human experiments on them, but they immediately say they have no proof afterwards, and all of this is based on memories. I think it's safe to say this one might be bullshit. I have no reason to defend Mystic, but no reason to corroborate shaky allegations either. And that's really as far as those tweets went. It seems like a lot of people thought the same thing I did. There's also another allegation by the user @SkyRaiderG7, claiming that Mystic was an abuser and choked his ex-girlfriend. The evidence we have for this is Mystic confessing to SkyRaider through DMs that he was manipulative and did some vaguely bad things, but that him being a pedophile is not true at all. Now, unless we have some concrete proof for some of the harsher allegations, I think it's safe to say that Mystic isn't really an abuser or groomer. I'm willing to apologize if I'm wrong though. But given the lack of evidence we have, I think it's a safe bet. Everyone on Twitter went insane when learning about this, let me tell you. People made memes, accusations, had differing opinions, etc. And then there's just me trying to piece everything together from a community I'm not involved in on a person I've never even heard of until now. One common criticism that Mystic got when exposed was using broken English and masquerading as someone of a different race. Now, when it comes to gender stuff, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, given that a leaker would want an anonymous identity, and pretending to be a woman online isn't really cause for concern. It's only really a problem when they're actively catfishing people or doing something else wrong. However, the Midori account stated multiple times that they were not interested in a relationship, and actively discouraged people from crushing on them. What many people saw as a problem though is a white guy pretending to be Asian, and speaking in broken English with complete sincerity. Frankly, I have to agree. Keeping an anonymous persona is one thing, but there was really no need to pretend to be a different race. It's just really weird. In fact, why not just be completely anonymous in general? You don't have to reveal anything about the account or who the person is behind it. People want credible leaks. That's it. What's still a mystery though is a cryptic tweet that the account made before deleting it almost immediately after. This account was also used by a group. I was not the main user of this account. and had not been using the account for a very long time, since the time the document in the callout post was made. But the template for this account was indeed created by me. So it looks like multiple people were using the account according to Mystic himself, and he might have been pressured into deleting the tweet by this group. There's also the response that Mystic made directly to the accusations made against him by the anonymous group that wanted to take him down. At this point, I'm just gonna start summarizing the points he made because this video is getting pretty big and I want to move on. His first point is that nearly all the claims made by the group are false, except for Midori's true identity. Regarding the Sega leaks, he claims this is false because his information ranges from 2020 to 2028. He's only shared a small amount of Sega leaks to protect his source from within the company. Not only that, but he also claims no trading was done to receive any new information to leak. Not in Discord groups or anywhere else. He believes this lie was created in order to bait him into revealing who his source is. Therefore, he decides to not further comment on this topic. Regarding the Square Enix leaks, he claims these leaks were received through regular conversations with people that were in the know, so to speak. If he hears a rumor, he'll talk to a trusted source to verify it. Regarding the Xbox Showcase leaks, these are true, according to him. Regarding him fishing through friend groups looking for new leaks, he claims these are false and that he has not joined any friend groups to steal information from them. Not only that, but on Discord he claims to have only interacted with people on the Midori account a total of 3 times, with 0 long conversations with any of them. Although, this directly contradicts the statement that Tails made, where he claims that he and Midori had a ton of conversations. Regarding the stalking of Sega employees, he denies this as he claims web and domain analysis falls under public information, which is free for anyone to see. He claims he has never gone through an employee list for leaks. While he flat out denies any stalking on the Midori account, John Reisenbach, who was a former employee of both Atlas and Sega, said this: "Just had a brain blast memory because Mystic used to DM me back during my Sega days. And the last time I remember him DMing me was an out of the blue message that just said, 'Don't think you can forget about me.' Sure won't be forgetting him now." Now this tweet is pretty vague and doesn't tell what Mystic said in those DMs, but it seems as though John is not a fan of him for many reasons. Mystic addresses this later, saying his conversations with Sega employees ended in 2019, and they were all innocuous, if not a bit awkward. Regarding the accusations of harassing Sega employees, he points out how illogical and insane this claim is, which accuses him of entering the office buildings of Sega, walking up to the employees, and hounding them for leaks until Sega made a new customer harassment policy. In order to enter the Fudosan Osaki Garden Tower building, you would need a keycard to access office floors. Not only that, but there's security guards and surveillance cameras watching every corner. He says that if he pulled a stunt like this, he'd be arrested on the spot, and there'd be tons of news articles discussing the incident. Not to mention, he wasn't even in Japan in May or June of 2023. He also denies any sort of blackmail or threats towards employees. Regarding the grooming allegations, he claims to have never been in any sort of romantic or sexual relationship with the accuser, and he says he was dating someone else during the time period the accuser mentions. He also denies any accusations of him grooming minors. The accuser was someone in his old friend group back in the Mystic days, and that's as far as they ever interacted. Regarding the use of broken English and faking a race, he profusely apologizes for this and says it was a huge mistake to do so. He understands if this was a huge breach of trust and claims he had 0 malicious intentions when creating the Midori persona. It wasn't to catfish people and it wasn't because he went crazy. It was more so a clean slate to stray away from the MysticDistance account and start fresh as a new person who everybody liked. Finally, regarding the MysticDistance account, he admits to being a shitty partner and hurting many people in the past. He has since sought help for his struggles, and as mentioned before, is on ADHD meds. He says he was manipulative, obsessive, toxic, and clingy as MysticDistance, and it's a big part as to why he wanted a fresh start as Midori. He says he'll be giving the community some space from him and take some time to heal. And after this response, the Midori account was deleted. Jesus Christ, this whole thing is such a fucking mess. Later, on June 22nd at 1 in the morning, Mystic would start a live stream on Twitch under the Midori account, playing Shin Megami Tensei 5 for a total of 5 minutes.
And try to respond to what everyone has kind of said over the last week and a half.
Nothing substantial happened in the stream, but for some reason he started using a weird voice filter, and so far this is where the Midori/MysticDistance saga ends. I have to agree with Screenments' statement on this whole thing. While I believe the Japanese LARPing was kind of weird, this wasn't exactly the biggest deal compared to what other people on the internet have done before. If any of the other more serious allegations are proven correct, like stalking, abuse, and grooming, I'll bite my tongue. But so far, there's been nothing too substantial. Honestly, I don't think this guy's gonna be welcomed back with open arms anytime soon. Not only was he already disliked for being an asshole and lying, but he made up a whole fake persona just to get exposed and hated even more. At this point, it might just be a good idea to leave this whole video game leaker scene behind. Not only because he's kind of bad at maintaining an online persona, but also for his own mental health. Not every leaker had such a bad reputation though. For example, the account Pyoro. Similar to everyone else I've talked about so far, Pyoro was another well-known leaker in several communities, around Midori's level at 100,000 followers. But the difference was, Pyoro was very accurate and reliable when it came to leaks about video game companies, mostly from Nintendo. It was really astonishing how Pyoro managed to make almost 100% accurate predictions for upcoming games and other gaming news, before any Nintendo Directs came out. Everyone seems to love Pyoro too, the complete opposite of Mystic, Zippo, and SabiWabii. But everyone eventually gets theirs, no matter how well-liked they are. Pyoro, in the week of Midori getting exposed, went quiet on Twitter and didn't make any leaks or predictions for that week's Nintendo Direct, claiming that nothing big was coming out. Well, if you did happen to see the Direct that came out that week, let's just say they could have not been any more wrong. This was really out of character for them. It's one of the first times they were completely wrong about a Nintendo Direct. What happened? On June 21st, we would get the answer as to why. An article was published by Jason Schreier that pretty much exposed the source of Pyoro's leaks, and how they managed to get them in their hands. On June 18th, the Reset Era user DGameMaster made this claim. I think I figured out what Pyoro's source was. He probably works on Nintendo's website backend. The things he did ultimately leak, Metal Slug, Ace Attorney Investigations, both of those games have web pages up on Nintendo's website ready to go. They haven't uploaded any such web page for the major first-party Direct announcements today. Usually, sites tend to go up shortly after announcements like this. So the fact that it's been 2 hours and no web pages are up is weird. Maybe Pyoro was simply in charge of that backend and got to see the announcements early because he worked on making sure those sites were ready to go. And now Nintendo/other publishers aren't allowing sites to be uploaded ahead of time. Jason himself contacted Pyoro wanting clarification or some sort of response. Pyoro, for whatever reason, responded and admitted that their source was a Nintendo Japan employee and that the website backend theory was a reasonable guess. Pyoro would also make this really funny tweet after the article exposed them and then privated their account. Nintendo would then make a tweet announcing that they were accepting applications for the Network Service Development Online Seminar. I don't think you guys understand how fucked Pyoro is, because it's not going to take long for Nintendo to figure out who the source is in their company, and once this person spills the beans on Pyoro's real identity, well, let's just say this bird is cooked. I really don't understand the hype and drama behind this community, honestly. No offense to any leakers or Game Leak fans watching, but I don't understand why. If you're a leaker, you're not only putting yourself, but the game company you like at risk because you want to tell everyone about a secret project that they want to keep secret for a reason. You want that company to make more games you like? Maybe sharing things the public aren't supposed to know isn't going to help. And for what? Online fame? Is it really worth it? Look what happened to the GTA 6 leaker. And my god, some of this drama just feels so unnecessary. Like I said before, if you're going to leak stuff, just do it. Why bother with a public persona? Give the people what they want. Not that I condone it, obviously, but I'm not your dad. Do what you want to do. Alright, my iconic Ricci rant is over. So that's the state of the leaking/persona community as of now. There's probably going to be a lot more stuff happening, as this feels like a domino effect just waiting to happen. Anyway, you just watched a cool commentary video of Ricci. Subscribe for more, and hit a like if you liked it. Thank you.